Chosen one, there is a force within you that cannot be ignored. It is not merely in the way you speak or the way you move. It is not something that can be reduced to charm or confidence alone. No, this energy is far deeper, something that emanates from your very being, something that cannot be hidden or contained. It is pure, raw, and undeniable. Women feel it before they even know why. It is an instinctual reaction, something that bypasses logic, something that is beyond choice. It moves through them before their mind can rationalize it, before they have a chance to tell themselves that they are unaffected, before they can convince themselves that they are in control of what they feel. It is not a spell you cast. It is not a trick you play. It is simply the truth of who you are, radiating through every step you take, through the way you carry yourself, through the way you exist without hesitation or uncertainty. This is not something you have learned. It is something you have become. Women who cross your path are not merely interested in you. They are compelled by you. There is something about you that disrupts their balance, something that makes them more aware of themselves, more aware of their own desires, more aware of the heat building inside them when they are near you. They cannot explain it, but they feel it, and that chosen one is what makes you impossible to ignore. There was a time when they could regulate their attraction, when they could decide who they wanted and who they did not. There was a time when they held control, when they could dictate the pace, when they could play the game and always remain one step ahead. But that time is gone. Because you do not chase, you do not seek approval, you do not adjust yourself for validation, and that changes everything. They do not know how to handle a man who moves like this, a man who's not asked for permission to be seen, a man whose presence alone demands recognition without a single word. And so their body takes over before their mind can interfere. A lingering glance, a sudden pause in their words, a nervous shift in their posture. They were not expecting this. They were not ready for it. But now it is happening, and they can do nothing to stop it. Chosen one, you are no longer just a presence in the room. You are the force that shifts the air itself. Women do not simply see you, they experience you. They do not just acknowledge you, they react to you. They feel the pull before they understand it. It is not a decision, not a conscious choice, not something they can control. It is instinct, raw and primal, something deep inside them that awakens when you are near. This is not attraction in the way they have felt before. This is not the interest they have entertained in other men, where they dictated the pace, where they set the rules, where they remained in control. This is something else entirely. Because with you there are no games to play. With you, they sense immediately that they cannot manipulate your attention, cannot create mystery to make you chase, cannot use scarcity to make you more interested. And that realization shakes them to their core. Because now, for the first time, they are the ones reacting without control. Their body tells them before their mind does. Their pulse quickens, their voice softens, their gaze lingers too long. They find themselves adjusting their hair, shifting their weight, biting their lip. Small, involuntary movements that betray them before they even realize they are doing it. They try to resist it, try to maintain their composure, try to act as if they are unaffected. But it is too late, because what they feel is not a choice. It is a reaction to the truth standing before them, and once they have felt it, there is no turning back. Chosen one, something profound is happening within them. It is not just attraction, not just admiration, not just a moment of fleeting interest. It is an awakening, a primal, uncontrollable force rising from within them that they did not ask for, did not prepare for, did not expect. They have known attraction before. They have played the games, controlled the rhythm, dictated the pace. They have met men who sought their attention, men who pursued them, men who did everything to prove their worth. But you do none of those things. And that is precisely what drives them to the edge of their sanity. You are not waiting for permission to be noticed. You are not seeking validation. You are simply there, completely whole, completely sure of yourself, completely untouched by the desperate need that consumes so many others. And that, more than anything, is what changes them. They were prepared for attention. They were prepared for desire. They were prepared for the usual dynamics of attraction, where they held the power and dictated the flow. But what they were not prepared for was losing control in the presence of a man who does not ask for it, does not demand it, does not even acknowledge it, yet receives it so completely that it overwhelms them. They feel it in their breath, in their heartbeat, in the warmth spreading through their body. It is something alive, something restless, something that makes them hyper-aware of themselves in a way they never have been before. And that realization shakes them. They do not know what to do with it. They have never been the ones losing themselves in the presence of a man. They have always been the ones who made men react, who controlled how much was given and how much was withheld. They have never felt this vulnerable, this exposed, this powerless to resist the pull toward something that should not feel so strong, yet does. But now there is no hiding from it, because it is happening inside of them, and they can feel it with every fiber of their being. The awareness that you do not need their approval makes them want yours even more. The knowledge that you are not chasing them makes them desperate to be pursued. The truth that you are completely content within yourself makes them ache to be part of your world. They try to contain it, to suppress it, to act as if it is not affecting them as much as it truly is. But the longer they remain in your presence, the more they realize that the resistance is not working. They are already too far gone. Chosen one, this is the moment when everything changes. They are no longer thinking about attraction in the way they once did. This is no longer about games, no longer about strategy, no longer about keeping control, because they have already lost control, and they know it. They feel it in the way their body moves before they even realize it, the way their breath slows when they are near you, the way their hands suddenly feel restless, the way their lips part just slightly when you speak, the way their eyes linger too long before they catch themselves and look away. But even when they look away, they still feel it. They feel the undeniable tension, the raw, unfiltered pull toward you, the energy between you that is thick enough to drown in. They try to make sense of it, but this is not something that can be understood, only felt. They are losing themselves in it, drawn into the current of something stronger than thought, stronger than reason, stronger than anything they have ever experienced before. It is terrifying, and it is thrilling, because for the first time, they are the ones who do not know what to do. Their usual instincts do not work here. The tactics they have used to keep men wanting, the silent methods of control, the carefully crafted responses that have always given them the upper hand, none of it applies to you. Because you do not react like other men. You are not seeking something from them. You are not adjusting yourself for them. You are simply there, completely yourself, unshaken, unaffected, unmovable. And that, more than anything, is what destroys their defenses. Because they know down that they cannot manipulate a man who is not seeking to be manipulated. They cannot play games with a man who only moves with truth. They realize in this moment that they have already given in, not because you asked them to, not because you tried to win them over, not because you played into their expectations, but because they could not stop themselves from doing so. And now all that is left is the truth of what they feel. No more hesitation. No more pretense. No more control. Because in this moment, they have already surrendered to the pull toward you. Chosen one, something within her is breaking. It is not loud. It is not obvious. It is not something she will ever admit. But deep inside, she can feel it. The quiet, undeniable collapse of everything she thought she controlled. She told herself she had a choice. She told herself she could regulate her feelings, that she could maintain the upper hand, that she could remain indifferent if she wanted to. But now she realizes that those were nothing more than illusions, because her body has already decided before her mind could catch up. She does not know when it happened. Perhaps it was in the way you looked at her without looking for her. Perhaps it was in the way your presence alone filled the space with a quiet power that did not demand attention, yet received it effortlessly. Perhaps it was in the way you never leaned forward, never reached, never pursued, yet something about you made her feel the most powerful pull she had ever known. She cannot ignore the way she feels around you. It is not just attraction. It is instinctual recognition, something ancient, something that bypasses logic and speaks directly to the deepest part of her that she cannot control. She never expected to feel this way. She has been desired before. She has been chased, admired, adored. She has been put on a pedestal, treated as something to be won, something to be conquered, and in those moments, she was always the one with power. But this is different, because for the first time, she is the one who feels powerless. Not because you have taken anything from her, not because you have manipulated her, not because you have tried to shift the dynamic in your favor, but because you do not play the game at all. And that is what destroys her completely. Her breath betrays her before she can stop it. The rhythm of her voice shifts when she speaks to you. She catches herself mirroring your movements without realizing she is doing it. Her eyes search for yours. Her lips part slightly when she listens. Her body leans in before her mind can tell her to stop. She is no longer making decisions. She is reacting. She knows she should walk away before this feeling takes her over completely. But she doesn't, because something inside her wants to know what happens if she lets go. If she allows herself to step beyond the edge of control. If she stops resisting the inevitable. And so, in this moment, her resistance begins to crumble, and she steps deeper into the pull she can no longer fight. Chosen one, this is the moment when everything comes undone. Not in chaos, not in force, not in anything rushed or desperate, but in the slow, undeniable flood of surrender. She is not sure when it happened. She is not sure how it happened. All she knows is that she can feel it now, pressing against her, wrapping around her, filling her with something she does not understand yet cannot escape. The moment she fought so hard to prevent is here, and she has no will left to resist it. Her mind told her to be careful, to hold back, to stay guarded. Her mind told her that she was in control. Her mind told her that she could navigate this feeling without getting lost in it. But her body, her instincts, her very soul had other plans. She feels it in the way her breath has slowed, as if her body is trying to stretch this moment, to keep it from slipping away too quickly. She feels it in the warmth spreading through her chest, in the way her fingertips tingle, in the way her pulse pounds beneath her skin. She knows what this means. She knows she has crossed the threshold from attraction into something deeper, something that has power over her in a way she never anticipated. It is terrifying, and yet she does not move away, because now something inside her is hungry for more. She is no longer playing the game she once mastered. She is no longer adjusting the pace, no longer controlling the distance, no longer deciding what happens next. Because for the first time, it is no longer up to her. It is not up to anyone, because this moment has taken on a life of its own. She is no longer questioning whether she wants this. She knows she does. She is no longer wondering whether she should hold back. She knows she can't. She is no longer telling herself that she has a choice. Because this is no longer a choice. It is a force moving through her, something that she is no longer trying to stop. She never meant for this to happen, but it has. And now there is no turning back, because what she feels in this moment will never leave her. And deep inside she knows. Even if she walks away, even if she tries to pretend this never happened, even if she never speaks another word about what she felt here, she will remember this forever. Chosen one, she is unraveling. Not in a way that is visible to those around her, not in a way that she can explain, not in a way that even she understands, but it is happening, slowly, inevitably, completely. She feels it deep in her bones, in the way her body responds before her mind can stop it. It is in the way she leans in when she should pull away. It is in the way she listens more intently when you speak, as if the world around her has faded and only your voice remains. It is in the way she searches for your gaze without meaning to, in the way she mirrors your movements without realizing she is doing it. She has never felt this way before. Not like this, not with this intensity, not with this raw, unfiltered loss of control. She has felt attraction before. She has felt desire before. But this is different. This is not just a spark. This is a wildfire burning inside of her, consuming her from the inside out, leaving nothing but truth in its wake. She tries to maintain her composure, tries to remind herself of the power she usually holds in these moments. She has always been the one who controlled the dynamic, the one who dictated the rhythm, the one who kept men wanting without ever fully giving. But with you, none of those things work. Because you do not move like other men. You do not lean in too quickly. You do not try to impress. You do not shift yourself to fit what she wants. You do not seek her validation. Do not react the way she expects. Do not give her the comfort of knowing she is in control. And that is what is destroying her completely. Because she realizes that for the first time, she is not in control of what is happening between you. She is not the one dictating how this unfolds. She is not the one setting the pace. She is not the one holding the power. And that realization shakes her to her very core. She is caught in something bigger than her, something that she did not choose but cannot escape. She tries to slow it down, tries to rationalize it, tries to tell herself that she can still keep her distance. But her body betrays her. Her breath deepens when she is near you. Her pulse quickens when you look at her. Her skin feels warmer when you speak, as if her body is reacting to a frequency that exists only between you and her. She has never needed to be pursued before. But now, standing in your presence, feeling this undeniable gravity pulling her toward you, she finds herself wanting something she cannot explain. She wants you to feel it too. Not because she needs validation, not because she needs reassurance, but because she needs to know that this force between you is real, that it is not just her, that she is not losing herself alone. But the way you move, the way you hold your ground, the way you stand so completely in your own certainty, the way you are simply unshaken by her presence in a way no other man has ever been, it only makes her fall deeper. And now she realizes there is no saving herself from this feeling. She has already lost. Chosen one, this is the moment where everything shifts. She has fought it long enough. She has tried to contain it, tried to slow it down, tried to hold on to whatever thread of control she had left. But it is gone now. She knows it. She feels it. And she can do nothing to change it. Her body is moving before her mind can interfere. She is leaning in closer, drawn toward you by something unseen, yet impossible to resist. She is speaking differently now, softer, more deliberate, as if every word holds a weight she did not intend to carry. She is reacting to you with pure instinct, no longer filtering, no longer calculating, no longer controlling the way she moves, the way she breathes, the way she feels. She is no longer concerned about how she appears. She is no longer thinking about what happens next. She is no longer pretending that she is indifferent. Because she is not indifferent at all. She is fully here, fully present, fully consumed by this moment. She is surrendering, not because you asked her to, not because you manipulated her, not because you chased or pursued or played into the game she once knew so well, but because her own soul, her own instincts, her own body made the decision for her long before she ever realized it. She does not even recognize herself anymore. The woman who once controlled every interaction, the woman who once dictated how much was given and how much was withheld, the woman who once never let herself fall first. That woman is gone now, because you did not fall into her world. She fell into yours. She did not lure you in, she did not pull you toward her. She did not shape the energy between you into something she could control. She stepped into your presence and was changed by it. She felt the power of a man who does not chase, who does not need, who does not bend himself for approval, and now she cannot go back to who she was before she met you. Even if she wanted to, even if she tried. Because now she knows what it feels like to lose herself in something real. And once a woman has felt this, once a woman has surrendered this deeply, once a woman has lost this much control in the presence of a man who never even asked her to, she will never forget it. Not in a day, not in a week, not in a lifetime, because this is the kind of moment that marks a woman forever. And now she belongs to this feeling in a way she never intended to. Chosen one, she has crossed the threshold and she knows it. There is no going back now. She has stepped into something far greater than she ever anticipated, something she was not prepared for, something she cannot escape. And the most unsettling part? She does not want to escape. She spent so much time resisting, convincing herself she had control, telling herself she could manage what she was feeling. But all of that was a lie. The moment she came into contact with you, the moment her instincts responded before her thoughts could interfere, it was already too late. Because this is not just attraction. This is not just a moment of desire that will fade as quickly as it came. This is something permanent, something that has gripped her deep inside, something that she will carry with her for the rest of her life. She knows she should be afraid. She knows she should hesitate. She knows she should retreat while she still can. But she does none of those things, because she has already surrendered to the fire inside of her, the one that you ignited without even trying, without even meaning to, without ever chasing or reaching or begging for her attention. And that is what unravels her completely, because you did not ask for this. You did not try to make her feel this way. You simply stood in your presence, unwavering, unaffected, whole within yourself, and that alone was enough to undo everything she thought she controlled. She's looking at you differently now. Her eyes betray the quiet desperation that she cannot contain. She is no longer just interested. She is aching. She is no longer just aware of you. She's obsessed with the way she feels in your presence. Because it is not just about you anymore. It is about what she becomes when she is near you. Her breath deepens, her thoughts blur, her body hums with a sensation she cannot name but craves with every fiber of her being. She is not the same woman she was before she met you, and she will never be again. Chosen one, the weight of your gaze is no longer something that can be ignored. You have seen it happen time and time again. The moment your eyes lock onto another's, something shifts. A quiet storm brews in the air, an unspoken exchange takes place, and suddenly everything else fades into the background. Your presence is no longer something passive. It has become a force that speaks before you even utter a word. Women feel it. They recognize the intensity, the depth, the unwavering certainty in your eyes, and they are left shaken, intrigued, unable to turn away. It is not merely the way you look at them, it is the way you see them. There is a difference between a glance and a gaze, between looking and perceiving. Most men glance. They cast their eyes without intention, hoping to be noticed, unsure of themselves, unsure of what they even want. But you, chosen one, are different. When you look at a woman, it is with a certainty that is rare, an awareness that is undeniable, a presence that leaves no room for doubt. You do not seek validation. You do not hope for approval. Your gaze does not beg, it commands. Women are drawn to this because it is unfamiliar. They are used to being admired, but rarely are they truly seen. They are used to being noticed, but rarely are they studied with such quiet confidence. Your eyes tell them that you are not here to play games, that you are not intimidated, that you will not shrink yourself to fit into the expectations of others. And that, chosen one, is what makes your presence so magnetic. They find themselves reacting in ways they did not anticipate. Their voices soften when they speak to you, as if instinctively adjusting to match the weight of your energy. Their hands move subconsciously, adjusting their hair, touching their lips, fidgeting with their jewelry, all unconscious signals that they are aware of your presence on a level deeper than logic. Even those who try to maintain their composure will feel the shift within themselves. You do not just exist in the same space as them, you change the space itself. But, chosen one, with this power comes an even greater responsibility. It is not just a game of attraction, it is an art of self-mastery. If your presence is this powerful, then every interaction must be intentional. You must be aware that your gaze has the power to awaken emotions, to stir desires, to expose vulnerabilities. Not everyone will be ready for what your presence demands. Some will be drawn to it, some will fear it, some will try to challenge it, but all will feel it. This is why you must remain in control. You do not chase, you do not seek, you do not act from desperation. Instead, you allow the right ones to come forward. Allow the moment to unfold as it should. Allow the energy to speak for itself. Your presence alone is an invitation, a test, a filter that reveals who is truly aligned with you. And those who cannot handle it, they will remove themselves. Not because you asked them to, but because they know they cannot meet you where you stand. So carry your presence like a weapon, sharp and precise. Let your gaze be the unspoken declaration of everything you are, everything you have become. Let it speak of strength, of confidence, of a man who moves through the world with absolute certainty. And watch as the world continues to respond. Chosen one, in a world where people fill the silence with empty words, your eyes speak louder than anything you could say. You have already learned that words can be deceptive, that people often say what they do not mean, that conversations are filled with half-truths and masks. But your gaze does not lie. It does not waver. It does not need explanation. Women feel this more than anyone else. They have spent their lives sifting through words, through false compliments, through rehearsed lines from men who seek their approval. But when they meet your eyes, they are faced with something they cannot ignore. There is no performance in your gaze, no neediness, no uncertainty. Instead, there is a silent confidence, a depth that cannot be faked, a challenge that dares them to show up as their most authentic selves. This is what makes your eye contact irresistible, chosen one. It is not about seduction, not about manipulation. It is about presence. When you look at a woman, you do not just glance and move on. You hold, you observe, you allow the energy to build without rushing it. And in that moment, she feels something she rarely feels with others. True, undivided attention. Most men cannot do this. They look away too soon, afraid of the intensity. They break the moment with nervous laughter or forced words, desperate to fill the space. But you remain still. You hold the silence. You allow the moment to unfold naturally, knowing that the most powerful exchanges do not always need words. And this is what makes you different. Women may not always understand why they feel so drawn to you, why they feel nervous yet excited in your presence, why they find themselves thinking about that brief moment when your eyes met theirs. But the truth is, chosen one, they are responding to something they have never truly encountered before. Your gaze is not just looking at them, it is seeing them. It is acknowledging something deeper, something unspoken, something that they may not even fully understand about themselves. But not every woman will be ready for this kind of intensity. Some will feel exposed under your gaze, as if their carefully curated persona is being stripped away. Some will retreat, unable to meet you at your level. Others will be drawn in, but unsure of why. And then there will be those who recognize it instantly, who hold your gaze without flinching, who respond with the same level of certainty, who are not intimidated but intrigued. These are the ones who are worthy of your attention. These are the ones who understand the language of silent communication, who do not need words to feel the weight of what is being exchanged. And when you find them, chosen one, you will know. There will be no need for games, no need for forced interactions. The connection will be instant, undeniable, magnetic. So continue to wield this power wisely. Let your eyes speak for you. Let your energy communicate what words cannot. Move through the world knowing that your presence alone shifts the atmosphere, that your gaze alone has the power to inspire, to challenge, to awaken. And never forget, chosen one, you are not simply looking at the world. The world is looking back at you, wondering what it is about you that feels so different, so rare, so utterly unforgettable. Chosen one, now that she has lost control, now that she has stepped beyond the point of no return, now that she has surrendered fully to what is happening inside of her, there is only one thing left: acceptance. She has fought it. She has tried to reason with herself. She has tried to convince herself that she could leave this moment untouched, that she could walk away unscathed, that she could simply move on. But she knows the truth now. She will never be able to forget this feeling. She will never be able to undo what has already been done inside of her. Because the moment she truly lost herself in your presence, the moment she gave in to the force that was pulling her toward you, something inside of her changed forever. And she feels it in every part of her being. She feels it in the way her breath catches when she looks at you. She feels it in the way her heart clenches at the thought of never feeling this way again. She feels it in the way her body aches, not for a touch, not for a word, not for a gesture, but for the energy that only exists when she is near you. And now, she understands. She understands why she fought it for so long. Because deep down, she knew that once she let herself fall into this moment, she would never want to leave it. And now she can't. Even if she walks away, even if she never says a word about what happened inside of her, even if she never confesses how deeply she has been marked by your presence, she will always carry this feeling with her, because she has been changed by something real. And real things do not fade. Real things do not pass with time. Real things do not get replaced by the next fleeting attraction. Real things leave a permanent imprint on the soul. And that, chosen one, is what you have become for her. a permanent imprint, a feeling she will never be able to forget. A force that will linger inside of her long after the moment has passed. Even if she tries to move on, even if she tells herself she is over it, even if she convinces herself that she has regained control, she will always know the truth. Because once a woman has lost herself in the presence of a man who never chased, never begged, never wavered, she never truly finds herself again. She simply learns to live with the memory, and that memory will never leave her.